The Clearwater Bar Foundation is a philanthropic organization created to promote equal access to the judicial system through its community outreach, education, and strategic financial investments. The foundation works to achieve a community where access to the judicial system is equally achievable for all. We've got a friend from the Clearwater Bar Association here today, and he's going to tell us all about it next on Bayside. Good morning and welcome to Bayside. I am your host, Shelly Sanders. Like I said before, we're talking all about the Clearwater Bar Foundation. And I'm not talking about drinks here. I am talking about law. Am I right? Chris Parker, you are the president.
Yes, I am. And it's a common misconception that the bar means that we're all hanging out at a local pub, which I'm not going to say that we don't, but it did not come from that. It actually has a history about why an association or a group of attorneys is called a bar.
I love it.
Tom, I can share that with you.
Please share. This is a curious topic.
All right, just a little piece of trivia for you. In around the year 1300, King Edward, over in England, decided that he needed to create a judicial system, and he created this court system and dispersed several lawyers and judges out to all the villages in his kingdom, and decided to get out there to help adjudicate all these disputes that were going on to maintain civility. And it became very popular for these people to come out and watch these, because at the time, in the late middle century or the late middle times, there wasn't a lot of, people were deprived of education and entertainment, so people would come out in droves. So it's sort of the Maury Povich of its time. and so these people came out to the point where they had to build a perimeter around the court because there were so many people there that only the people could get into the court were the lawyers and attorneys. So they built a bar, a wooden bar around the court, and it became known as admission into the bar if you were able to go inside those bars. So some 700 years later, here we are, and the name has become synonymous with an association of attorneys.
So it's like the early times velvet rope, if you will.
Yes, except they didn't have velvet ropes. They just had wooden bars.
The bars.
So nobody else can tell that story. The American Medical Association doesn't have a cool story like that.
Right.
So, yes.
Certainly not the Maury Povich of the time. Were they deciding paternity back then?
They may have. You are not the father.
Oh, let's talk about the foundation. The reason why you're here. I love little facts like that. Thank you for sharing. So Chris Parker, you are the president of the Clearwater Bar Foundation.
Correct.
So this organization, it's been around for quite a while, and I know I alluded to it a little bit in the opening, kind of gave a generic what it does, but really and truly, what is it?
The Clearwater Bar Foundation actually stems from the Clearwater Bar Association. The Clearwater Bar Association began way back in 1930, so we're almost around 100 years. And the Clearwater Bar Association began to help attorneys kind of hone in on their skills, get them together for networking opportunities, leadership opportunities, to meet one another, to bounce off ideas, to provide educational services, mentorships, and they still do that. But one of the big things that they wanted to do was give back to the community. And so around the 1980s, they created their own foundation called the Clearwater Bar Foundation. So what we do is we are 100% dedicated to giving back to the community. We envision a community that has equal access, where everyone has equal access to the judicial system. Because while we do have probably, arguably, the best judicial system in the world, it's only the best when everyone has access to it.
Right. So with that being said, how does this play out? And for the viewers at home that are watching this, what does that mean to them? They're sitting there like going, okay, I'm not sure I get.
Yes.
What is it that you're going to do for me? Or how might I benefit from this?
Totally understandable. A lot of people know that if you're being charged with a crime by the state or by the federal government, that you are afforded an attorney, a free attorney. But that's not the case in a lot of civil matters, or really any civil matter. You're never appointed an attorney to help you. So we've acknowledged that you are sort of at a disadvantage if you don't have an attorney to navigate through the gauntlet of the procedures involved in a legal case. Take, for instance, someone who's a tenant. A lot of renters out there right now. People are renting, say the landlord is not keeping the home or apartment up to code. And they're not maybe giving them their deposit back, or they're overcharging them what the lease says. How do you go about getting access to the legal system in order to enforce the fact that they've done something illegal? Do they go out and pay $300 or $400 an hour for a private attorney? Probably not. That kind of defeats the purpose.
Certainly when it might equate to the amount of the deposit that they're squabbling over.
It would sort of be a total loss.
Right.
So, you know, who's there to help them? There's hundreds of those types of things. What if you're in an abusive relationship and you want a divorce, but you can't afford a family attorney? If you're someone who wants to get citizenship in the United States, but you're not sure how to go about doing it, and you don't want to be illegal, how do you go about doing that? There's sort of a crack in our system that where only sort of the wealthy and powerful sometimes have access to our great judicial system, and we're here to kind of be part of the solution.
So kind of helping balance that
Correct.
out, so to speak.
Correct.
Gotcha. So some examples of your work is what you're referring to here, is like you're there to assist those individuals when they aren't sure where to go or how to even proceed.
Right. There's so many different instances where people aren't afforded the ability to hire counsel, and when that happens, those people are at a huge disadvantage, and we start to see the playing field sort of shift towards the wealthy and powerful. And we're here to even that playing field.
Gotcha. Now, there's also another leg of this. You have legal fairs, correct?
We do.
Okay.
We try to provide legal fairs, and that kind of sounds like, you know, there's a carnival going on and all this.
It's
when
next
you think
to the
of
bar, right?
Yeah, a bar and a fair going on. We're all there. Another misconception. But a legal fair is events that we hold several times a year, and this is where people come to us. We have a location. Sometimes we even do them online. During COVID, we did them on Zoom.
Sure.
But normally they'd come to a particular location if they had problems, sort of like they did back in the 1300s, right, where they would come with their problems and we would try to help them. So we invite several attorneys who dedicate their time to come out. The potential clients or the citizens would come out, and we would take their information in, and then we would disperse it out to an attorney who would sit down with them and helps them during that legal affair figure out their issue. Now, if they can't go to court with them or help them, they'll at least give them the forms or the information provided or the guidance provided that they need to be able to resolve their situation.
Okay.
So this is one of the many things that we do.
Similar to a job fair in so much as you come there because of the issue at hand, and in this case it would be a legal issue.
Correct.
And you're given the advice. All righty. So I know you at home have many questions, I am sure. Don't worry. Everything that Chris and I are speaking on today is right here on the website that you are looking at right now. That is clearwaterbarfoundation.org, clearwaterbarfoundation.org. We have so much to tell you, so much to dive into. Who knows if we'll even get to it all, but that's the website you'll want to check out. How about you check it out while we go to break? Welcome back to Bayside. I'm your host, Shelley Sanders. I've been speaking with the president of the Clearwater Bar Foundation, Mr. Chris Parker. And this is so wonderful to have you here because you're answering a lot of the questions that a lot of people have as it relates to even just terminology. I still am I'm loving this fact about where the bar came from. You know, lawyers pass a bar in order to practice. Anyway, it's so fascinating, but much more than that. You're really opening, it's an eye-opening experience, and certainly I hope that our viewers are feeling this as well, learning that there is solutions, there is help out there, there's assistance should they need that, and I think that this is a very worthy foundation, and I'm really glad that you're here and we're able
Thank
to
you.
share it with our viewers.
It's good to get the word out.
Absolutely. So when we left on the break, we were talking about the legal fair and what that consists of. And it's basically, it sounds to me, if I may paraphrase, a place to come for resources on where to go and who can you speak to. It's kind of like a matchmaking. Okay, here we go. I've got an attorney for you. Here you go. Blah, 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 and hope it works out.
Right. Oftentimes people don't even realize if their problem is legal, or they just run out of options and they don't know where to go. So they see our advertisement for a legal fair and they come out and they get an opportunity to have some one-on-one time with an attorney. And most of our attorneys will even give out their card and say, hey, call me anytime if you need me to talk to you outside the hours of this legal fair. We'll continue to help you. We'll provide you with the forms. Either we'll give you the link of where to go to get those forms, or we can even print them out there. We always make a printer available for those events because a lot of the law is just filling out forms, right? It's a lot of paperwork. And so that's kind of a lot of what we do is the transactional side. So, it may require us to do that for them. It may be to direct them to another attorney. It might even be to tell them that this is going to be expensive and we don't have anybody. But we always try to get them into a place. There's already people out there and organizations out there like the Bay Area Legal Aid. There's Directions for Living, local legal clinics that work on different types of things like immigration. And we want to get them out there and plug them in to those organizations if we can't help them directly. So a lot of times we're just sort of a conduit or a facilitator to help plug in, somebody who can help them. We do realize that our biggest resource is our knowledge, our wealth of knowledge, because we have over 800 attorneys in the Clearwater Bar Association, and all of them have to do pro bono hours. Sometimes they just don't know where to do it. So if we can say this person needs this person and we can connect them, then we feel like we've done some good.
Almost like a resource hub. And if anything, for the most part, most of us laymen, any kind of legal document sometimes is so wordy that you think like, okay, wait, I'm understand. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me just re-chew this.
Yeah. Sometimes
So it can be overwhelming.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
there's a place for that as well.
Absolutely.
Right? You can at least help to explain, okay, this is all this means, or, ooh, this is what this means.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
So now you mentioned some of these other organizations just now. Are these some of those partners that exist out there that help you facilitate your mission?
Absolutely. Our mission, as we mentioned earlier, is to sort of promote equal access to the judicial system. And we do that in one of three ways, or three different ways. We do that, one, with building partnerships and doing community outreach, because there's already people out there that are doing this type of work, and we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We want to partner with them. We want to find out how they can use our resources. How can we work together to kind of solve the problems that we're trying to solve, which is unequal access to the legal system. Secondly, we want to provide education. And if some of these organizations are already doing that, we want to help them, whether that be education and making a legal issue a do-it-yourself situation where we can just provide you the forms to do it, or help you understand what your rights are in a particular matter, or educating young people about the legal process or legal education if they want to become a lawyer. Education is a key factor. And the last one is the strategic financial investments that we want to make into the community to these types of organizations that you'd mentioned.
Okay, and what does that look like?
Well, during pre-COVID times, it was a lot easier for us to make grants and donations to organizations that would come in.
Sure.
Organizations that reflect our mission and do the same types of things that we do would often come in and ask for money. As you know, during COVID and then the post-COVID era with inflation, it's been a lot more difficult for us to raise the type of money that we need to make the types of strategic financial investments that we want to make. So this year
is where you've got events coming in and where our viewers can help out.
There's always
All
the ask for the hard ask for money,
Exactly.
right? They're always going to ask for money.
So for you at home, yep, that's a real big hint. I'm pretty good at asking you for money. Hey, by the way, it will benefit you for sure, and if not you, it could be your neighbor or a loved one. So by all means, why don't you go log on to clearwaterbarfoundation.org, clearwaterbarfoundation.org. If anything, it's really enlightening, and you never know when you might need a little bit of help, even if it's just explaining some of the legal documents to you. We'll dive more into that conversation with Chris when we come back after these messages, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Bayside. I'm your host, Shelley Sanders, talking with Chris Parker all about the Clearwater Bar Foundation. Hopefully you went to the website, clearwaterbarfoundation.org, got yourself a little bit more educated so that you're with us as we're talking about it now. But if not to worry, that website will be up long after we're gone today. So that said, I could sit here and we could talk for another 3 or 4 shows. Which I'm sure you'd be happy to do. Unfortunately, we have like one segment. So let's talk about that. When we left out, we were talking about financial, how our viewers can help out and how they would donate. And because at the end of the day, all this education and the strategic investments that you're putting back into the community, all these things, they don't happen for free. Right. Although your services sometimes are free because attorneys have pro bono hours that they are required to do. But these services don't happen for free, so you have to raise those funds somehow. Right. Okay, through wonderful viewers who decide, okay, we want to donate, but what exactly am I donating? Where's that money going? And I think that's an important thing for you to share with our viewers.
Right. Like you said, the unfortunate truth is that none of this is free. You know, even doing a legal fair and having volunteers come, we have to rent the space. We have to have refreshments for people. We do have to pay some people to be there. But none of this is free, you know, so in order to do the types of things that we want to do, like we've done throughout the years, like giving $47,000 to the Clearwater Bar Association Student Legal Internship Program, $16,000 to Enterprise Village. We've donated a total of $15,000 to Finance Park. We've given money to a lot of people that have come in who reflect what we want to do, but we're not able to do that unless we have the funds to do that. And unfortunately, our group isn't paid. You know, we're all volunteers, and there's only so much that we can do on our own, you know, through sweat equity. So in order to do the things we want to do, we have to have the funds to do that. So that's, you know.
One thing of note that with you sharing these organizations that you've donated money to, I love that these monies are staying local. It stays in the community, which for a lot of people, and myself included, that's a hot button. Yeah. That's wonderful that it stays here, that you're not, it's not a grand national or nationwide or global organization where you really don't, you aren't really able to see 100% transparency.
Right.
And that you all are actually donating your time. This is clearly a passion project for you. I mean, being the president of a foundation is no easy task. Yes, on top of being an attorney.
Yes, it can be time consuming, but it's well worth it. And we have on our board a lot of great people that aren't just attorneys, that come from banks and nonprofit organizations and different community leaders that make up our board. And they all dedicate a lot of time into this project and working to help people.
So in addition to just flat out donations to the foundation, you all have events throughout the year. Give me some some examples of some of these events. I mean, some of them are a lot of fun.
They really are. We do a trivia event every year, a team trivia game that's a fundraiser that we do in Dunedin every year. And we've done, I think this is our 4th or 5th one that we've done that we'll do this year. This year we're doing, for the very first time, a gala roast. We're going to roast an attorney. This year's featured attorney will be Wally Pope, and that will happen in February of this year. And that'll take place at the Clearwater Yacht Club. And that is strictly a fundraiser for our organization. But we also do lots of capital campaigns just with the attorneys in the Clearwater Bar Association. But we ask anybody if this is a good cause for you to go to the website and donate.
Absolutely. So if you'd like to kind of just get your toes wet at first, why don't you check out their events section on the website, and that website's clearwaterbarfoundation.org. You are looking at it right there. That'll give you all the information and then some, including how you can get involved. And maybe you have a youngster that's interested in law. Great place to send them. All right, we'll be back after this to wrap up this week's edition of Baysides. Don't go anywhere. As always, I want to thank you at home for joining us this week on Bayside. And of course, Chris, thank you so much for being here and sharing all this information. You'll have to come back and let us know how things are going.
Absolutely.
Keep us abreast of things and keep reminding our viewers just what it is that you guys do out there. Definitely a place for you. So for you at home, if you'd like more information, I encourage you to log on to the clearwaterbarfoundation.org. You never know when you might have a question, when you might need some help, and who you know that might need some help. So check it out. We'll see you next week.